is a round of applause coming towards you. We hope you receive. Thank you so much for thank you so much for taking time and being patient as technology misbehaves. But either way, we are here now. So without any further ado, I want to straight to the team that are commenting on the papers. And after that, I'll open the floor. We'll try to keep it brief and short because so far I think we are completely out of time because of those technological issues. So I'll straight to, yes. So from Malala Fund, I know you have experience in terms of just trying to see how leadership can really be a reality, not just for every, but again, there is particular focus on girls. So based on that, and linking it to the paper that have been shared with us today, what do you have to say? What exactly need to pick? And what is it that is hidden that we need to know so that the real leadership that we are advancing makes sense to African continent? Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is apparently, my name is apparently Malala Fund. The moderator of this whole session has been calling me the Malala Fund up to now. But I am actually a representative of the Malala Fund. My name is Maiti, and I am based in Ethiopia. And the reason I'm speaking here today is to talk to you a little bit about GTE, or Gender Transformative Education, as has been mentioned in the past papers that have been presented. I don't think I am qualified to comment on the papers particularly, but I can comment a little bit about GTE and what we're doing at Malala Fund to kind of redefine what it means from the perspective of activists doing the work on the ground. So from that perspective, we believe that a lot of the... I'm sorry, I assumed I would be speaking last, so my ideas are everywhere, so forgive me, please. But yeah, as I was saying, so GT can be intentional. When it comes to, when we're talking about education and when we're talking about leadership, they go hand in hand. And when it comes to what we're trying to do with bringing more girls and women into leadership, it matters the type of education that they're getting. It's not just about them completing their education, but it's about the opportunities that they get once they finish their schooling. So in that regard, what we can do with gender transformative education, if we're all able to advocate it, and if we're all able to take this up, especially with the amazing opportunity that we have next year being the year of education in Africa, is that we can build a new generation that doesn't have issues with gender inequality, because they will be learned from the first day that they go into school that there is no such in between girls and boys. They will learn the valuable skills, they will gain confidence, they will be the leader that they are. And not because of the struggles that they have to face today, but the system will bring them up to more opportunities. So that's entirely what gender transformative education is. And again, with the work that we've done and with the definition that we've been able to come up with, the activists that we've worked with, that is pretty much what it's trying to do. And again, I implore that with next year being the year of education and the continental strategy for education coming to an end, we have an opportunity here to make sure that GTE is a part of the curriculum, to make sure our education reflects that young women and girls are a part of the conversation, that they are at least in their day-to-day lives, and that can become leaders either politically or in whatever that they decide to do with their lives. So I will not take up much of your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And I think our time is flying quickly, but I'll give this opportunity to leader, just to share a bit on maybe her perspective on the papers. Keep it short and sweet so that we get maybe 5 minutes to the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The topic is overcoming barriers and empowering young women in leadership education. When I listened to the two papers, what came to my mind is that we need to overcome barriers and empower young women. We cannot ignore the barriers that young men and girls face in leadership. So when we look at women in politics, we look at women in academia, we look at women in the private sector, women in civil society, they face a lot of barriers, just general barriers and the gendered barriers. And those cannot be ignored if we are to increase the number of women and girls who come into leadership. I would like to refer this or link this to the work that we do as a movement, as FAWE. So as FAWE, and from what the papers indicated, they spoke a lot around gender responsive education and gender transformative education. Now, not gender transformative education because Meti has already spoken a lot about it. But when we look at gender responsive pedagogy, which the first paper spoke to say if every degree is to ensure that there is gender studies from the first degree to PhD level. Our work as FAWE looks at gender responsive pedagogy from ECD level to tertiary. And when we look at GRP as FAWE, we look at transforming three environments: the physical environment in a school setup, the social environment, and the academic environment. So when we look at academic environment, we are speaking to what was coming out of the papers, which looks at the curriculum itself. How is the curriculum structured in terms of addressing gender issues? How are the teaching and learning materials, the textbooks, and everything else that learners and teachers come into contact with during the teaching and learning process? What is that is in the textbooks that are in schools? And that speaks also to universities. What is that is in the textbooks? When we look at the teaching process, how is the teacher himself or herself, the lesson plan, the evaluations on conduct, how are they relating to learners? Yesterday, I gave a joke to colleagues when we were having a meeting with our national coordinators, where I was saying, when I went to teachers training college, one of my lecturers, after marking my papers and I was failing dismally in technical graphics, he ended up saying, "You have a long way to go." And that destroyed me as a young person who was aspiring to become a technical graphics teacher. So gender responsive pedagogy is around ensuring that we do not leave behind any boy or any girl. The same way in leadership, we have to empower both the women and the men, but particularly ensure that environments are enabling for the girls to be able to take up leadership. I'll round up my contribution by just to enabling environments. The papers spoke to teaching, mentorship, which is critical for young women or women who are aspiring to be leadership without being coached, without being taught. This morning we list a lot of very prominent men, and I'm sure for the young women who are in the space, they go back motivated after listening to the madam sitting over there, the honorables. They went back already mentors into the mentorship session, but just seeing women being in that space, able to express themselves and the change that they are bringing to ministries of education is an enabling environment for a woman wishing to be in leadership. The issue of scholarships and girls' clubs, I will not speak much to that, but they provide space for young women to be empowered with leadership skills, leadership skills, assertiveness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lydia, for that perspective. I'm sure I think quite a lot. So at this point in time, I want to get to hear the perspective from Sierra Leone. Honorable Emily is on. I know she missed part of it, but certainly the bit which she's been able to pick. we give her the floor. Keep it short.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon again. Sorry for coming late. I went to take a nap, but I passed off. Overcoming the barriers. I picked up in like the role models. Sierra Leone, we have a lot of role models, teachers, field teachers in the schools, which FAWE has developed for a very long time. But when you look at it, there is something very common in African countries, the pulling down syndrome. It comes from us to women, especially when you do not belong in the same party. The same even in the schools. The girls pull themselves down, and sometimes we have the men, because they want to rule, they pull the women down and then just discourage them and give them all sorts of bad adjectives to discourage them from participating in politics. And this brings down the momentum and then brings down the zeal of the women. But as a woman in politics, I was a teacher and I joined politics in 2018. What I learned and from my fellow women I worked with, I said, be focused. The second one is know yourself. Whether they talk about you, just get a notion that I am what God has made me and I want this vision and I will, then God will help you. Then be strong. If they see the weak in you, for me, I contested for the mayoral election in 2018. My opponent was a gentleman. When he passed the I abused. When I'm in the morning, I just say, good morning, sir. How are you doing? You look so sad. You smile. And then change. Then know the issues. Sometimes the children know the issues because we are keeping away issues of adult women. So it's time we open up to them and let them go. Then be exact. Sometimes we think we are islands. We are not. Break those barriers and get to the people. Then have an education that is meaningful, whether formal or non-formal. It will help you in political career. Tell the children. Then, of course, have resources. Don't depend on the party giving you money. Find something to do that will give you something that will make up for the community around you. And then, with all this, for me, I said, God shadows everything. Okay? And do your work. Be focused, as I said. Be a man. Like that gentleman passes around. I had, they told me, ever listen to people say about us. You hear and then know that. If we teach our like this, then honestly, leadership will change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, I want you to keep it below minutes, kindly. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll just quickly build on what Honorable has said here to just shed some light. In fact, if we are talking about leadership roles for our girls, we all have to be players right from the home. We have to change the narrative. We have to teach our children right from our own homes, because we are looking at the educational sector. We as parents, we have a greater role to play right from the home, and especially as women, sisters, daughters, husbands, brothers and sisters, because my perception of gender is that which inculcates both the boy and the girl child. They have to work together for a transformative educational system and for leadership roles to be taken upon by the girls. The women, the men, we have to come together because the family is built on the mother and the father before we send them to these schools that we are expecting the teachers to do what we want them to do in the classroom, following the classroom curriculum. So we have to start from the home and build these wonderful African communities that we want to see and produce these leaders that we want to see, produce these wonderful girls that we want to see take up leadership positions tomorrow. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, my great commentators. I know because it did not begin as we expected, a bit of technical hitches here and there, but we've managed. I know other sessions are on. I just want to take two, because I saw a hand even before the commentators came on board, so it would be injustice to turn her down. So Jidere had an opportunity, just a minute to share what you want to share. Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I guess what I'd wanted to say had been addressed, especially by Dr. Oh, she's gone. The lady that was sitting there in the first seat. Ah, okay. Yes, she said most of what I'd wanted to say. What I just want to add is, especially for those of us that are from the academics, my senior colleague, Dr. Vivian, I am not sure of the messages that we take to the classroom. I think we need to be very careful with the messages we take because, like you said in your closing statement, gender is about the needs of boys and girls. But the narrative that goes to the class is that we are competing. I'm saying this within the context of the culture of Africa. Because if you bring conflicting issues, there will be confusion. And at the end of the day, what we intend to achieve may not be achieved. So we need to correct, we need to take the right narrative to the class. We are not competing. We are just taking what is rightly ours. This is the space. Allow everybody to the space. But if the lecturer comes to the class and makes the woman feel more important than the boys, remember, these boys will be men. I want us to look at the big picture. These boys will definitely grow and become men. I have seen men that have sworn that their wives will not go to school. So, that is to say that your action is preventing another sister from going to school. So we need to be very careful, those of us that are there, that are older, what actions are we taking that is affecting those that are coming? If a man knows that you are doing this to achieve this, he strategizes. This is a space, and the space should be for all. I think that's what we are saying. Please, I stand corrected. The space is for everyone. It's a level playing ground, and that space should be given to all. That's what I believe in. But I can't come to the class and tell my students and give examples that will make the girl take decisions that is detrimental to another woman. I'm just saying we need to be careful. Send the right information to the young ones so that they take the right narrative and take rational decisions. That will be good for those that are coming behind. Because as we are growing, the younger ones are coming, and they keep changing the narrative, and it becomes a problem. I know where I'm coming from with this, but because there's no time, I won't be able to talk much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jidere, for that. And Forgive me, my team members. I know you're burning inside with lots and lots of questions, lots and lots of inputs, but the time is far gone. Unfortunately, we are not able to take any more beyond that. But let me turn to the team that have made this possible. Highly appreciated for turning up for this. Without you, it would have been a success. To my commentators, I owe you a lot. Thank you so very much. To the presenters, so can you make it below a minute, please? Thank you so much.
Because I'm in that situation where...
Here.
Okay. As the Queen comments, digest. Men don't cook at home, they cook in the hotels. Women build at home, and they are not public engineers. Digest.
Thank you very much. Quickly, because I'm in the space of being in tradition and culture. Being a queen in a traditional structure means something else to being a woman that's a leader in the boardroom. So I find myself in a situation where I need to change hats. After today, or after this week, I go back to my traditional way of living, and it's a different ballgame altogether. But one thing that is important with culture, and I want us to be very careful with this, is the fact that culture can be good. There are these traditions that come with culture that we have to keep because they keep us, our being, and ourselves together. And then there are also these traditions which you don't stand much to lose. For instance, if you're going to hair, I love wearing my headscarf. I don't see a problem with covering my hair, you know, as a wife. And it has nothing, I don't lose anything. It's a sign of respect in my culture, and I love it. But then there are those traditions that we have to then work against, which are the ones that we should be talking about. Young girls getting married and all sorts and also. So we have to be careful as we work around this that we don't just say generally traditions and culture, because they are us. They define us as Africans. They define us as people. They carry certain values, respect, you know, and things like that. So we must know that thin line between what we want in culture and what we do not want. I think that was the key message that I wanted to bring to you. And then lastly, to say, you can be a powerful leader of a woman even if you are in the culture. Actually, leaders in the tradition, women in the traditional environment are leaders, but they lead differently. That's another topic for another day, how we women in the traditional structures actually lead without actually being the king or the chief, but being in that space altogether. So it's very important that we take note. And I want to commend the comments that came from the minister. Nothing was everything is correct. Thank you very much for sharing those points. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Time will never be enough for this because we know we have so much to share. But either way, my final appreciation goes to the presenters for putting everything together and just spurring this particular discussion. I'll assume the position of men today so that we keep with time. So thank you so much. Another session is already on. Allow us to end at this. And Beverly, would you want to guide on where the next grouping should be? Otherwise, thank you so much. Keep the conversation going. It is worth it, and we shall make it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael, for the moderation. Thank you, panelists and the paper presenters. We are all moving back to the Mara Ballroom where we started earlier in the day. So let us all make our way to that hall. Thank you all for coming for this session.